Hi everyone, welcome to my third vlog. As I mentioned last week, I was at stag do this weekend, so if I'm looking a little bit worse for wear, that's probably why. Kind of just done a little bit of recovering today, had the day off work, which was very nice. We went off on Friday afternoon and yeah, it was really good, it was amazing. It's about as crazy as you would expect as well. For the sake of the video, I'm probably not going to go into any of the things, but you know, it's really good, really good. Mayank, if you're watching this video, congratulations mate, well done. Hope the wedding's really good. So yeah, anyway, this past week then, because we left on sort of Friday, I've been having a go at getting some stuff done with the game today, i.e. basically just looking at ways to get the turn-based aspect actually rolling. So at present we've got two actual characters, two boxes on the playing field. The way that we're doing it at present is that we're going to be dedicating the WASD keys to the second player and the arrow keys to the first player. So that's just for the time being. Also got those flies, the AIs of the flies moving around, but remember at some point last week when me and Jake were having a conversation on Discord, my sister also agrees with this, but they figured that it doesn't really make sense to have the flies or the collectibles moving around the actual play space just as they are, just like automatically, because he doesn't really agree with the aspect of mixing turn-based and real-time together in that sort of way. So I think for the time being we're gonna probably look at ways of implementing that instead, because I think that is a fair point to make, because you know, ideally if you've got turn-based and then you've got actual things moving around, whilst I thought that we would be putting a timer in, maybe a few, maybe 5 seconds max, this timer, as soon as it runs out, it's basically player 2's go, and then they get a timer, and if they don't use it in that time, they lose their lose their turn. Instead of having that, I think it might just confuse the player a little bit, as Jake said, and Amy thought the same sort of thing. So I think yeah, I think we're just going to go back to the original idea of just having the actual collectibles just sort of spinning around in certain places. Perhaps maybe they will shift as and when each player does, sort of similar to the way in which I can't think of any off the top of my head, but certain games do. So yeah, I think that's probably the way forward for that. So if I just switch to Unity really quickly. Yep, so as you can see here, I've just been experimenting a little bit here. So if we click play here, that's basically me hitting the WASD keys for now, and you've got the arrow keys that move the actual player themselves. What you've noticed there is the actual the collision detection, and I managed to crack it last week. So basically what happens now, again still very early days, but player who moves into these brown triangles, these triangles will actually disappear, and if we go to the console window, I've basically written it to hopefully that's activated. Yeah, so I've basically written into the script for the actual console to tell you how many how many triangles you've actually captured. So that's going to form the that's going to form the basis of the actual score point system, I think. In terms of the HUD, the UI even, you know, the timer itself, the actual how the points are displayed, I think still a little bit far from understanding exactly what that looks like, but it's just nice to know that the mechanics themselves are a little bit starting to come together. So I'll just show you that again, if we can watch it directly from the console window. Again, it's not really oh, so one of the triangles has moved into the square. Score equals 1. Score equals 1 for player 1. Player 2 has 2 now, and that sort of thing. So basically all the other warnings are think I've taken out certain, and I've deactivated and taken out certain other scripts that I've been working on. But no, the main thing is that this little score system here is actually starting to come to light. So yeah, it's been a little bit it's been a bit of a challenge actually to have this script actually written together. But I've been asking Jake and Lomi on the go certain questions about certain things, and yeah, that's kind of the process. It's moving nicely in that respect. So there'll be an instance where I'll completely not understand something because it's probably a C# related issue, and I'll ask one of those guys. So yeah, I think next concentration for the rest of the weekend is to try and get that turn-based, that turn-based mechanism actually down and working, because I think as soon as that's down, I could be quite wrong, but I have a feeling that one of the most important aspects of the game, one of the core mechanics, is actually pretty much there, I think. And obviously there's a ton more work to do on top of that, but the core, I feel like a lot else can now be put on top of the actual game itself. So like the UI, the types of collectibles, just balancing out the values of each collectible, you know, how many points you get for each one. Maybe starting to look at you know, offensive objects, weapons, projectiles, sort of thing. That was also an idea that we had, sort of taking inspiration from, I think, Worms, those kind of games. So that could be the next sort of step, the sort of direction that we go in as soon as this is done, as in the turn-based movement itself. But also the most important thing, I think, is to start creating some assets and some pictures of the geckos, and, you know, types of what the flies actually look like, the setting and all that stuff, and actually start loading that in, as well as doing some animations and rigging, I think it's called. Amy was mentioning it to me. But yeah, so I think from that respect, didn't really want to rush in and get all the assets in. I know that a lot of games, or a lot of Unity tutorials at least, they put all the assets and the pictures and the animations and everything really early into the production of the game. In a way, I can see why they do that. It gives you a better idea of how the actual game will start to look, and gives you a good interpretation of where it's going and whether or not it's starting to look good. But I think for us, we're kind of going from the area of getting the core mechanics down with, you know, essentially a wireframe, seeing if it's actually fun, then doing some balancing and tweaking from that point onwards. And the assets can come later, I think. We're not really in a hurry to get all that stuff in there yet, because whilst it's extremely important, you know, I think whilst we've made some good progress, it's still very important that we get the essentials down. And yeah, I think that'll add more direction into where we want to go, or what aspects of the game we want to look at next. So that's pretty good from that respect. Yeah, again, didn't get as much done this week because I was out from Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and tried to catch up with a good few hours today. But no, the rest of this week, going to be back on it. So yeah, so if you've reached the end of this this vlog, thank you very much for watching, and you know, we'll be looking to get the 4th vlog out on Sunday. You know, as I said before, these vlogs are supposed to encourage me and keep the motivation up for me to get the games, and I think for everybody to keep working on this stuff. But even if a week goes by and not a lot has been done, you know, you're still going to have a vlog basically set up for this particular week. So yeah, so once again, if you've watched this, thank you very much for watching it. Thank you for the support. Any comments or whatsoever, just leave them in the comment section, like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a very good week.